Hey there, Julia here. Today I am inking up new pens for July, and typically I ink up pens and inks that go with my main planner, and I have a setup video for my planner, and then I pick out my pens and inks, and that's a whole process, but I didn't feel like doing that this month. So really I have no rhyme or reason for any of these pens or inks that I've selected this month, just whatever I felt like inking. I wanted some variety for sure because there's going to be lots of travel, so therefore lots of journaling and note-taking, so I just wanted reliable pens that I would be happy with. And really, they have to compete with last month's currently inked pens because those were just some of my favorites as a group so far. Everything was really well performing and enjoyable, and I'll leave a link to the last video up above here and in the description if you want to check that out. And then finally, before we get started, I quickly wanted to revisit this Taylor Swift fountain pen that's been all the rage in the community. I actually have a video of my initial thoughts of this fountain pen, and I mentioned that I was going to check back in with my thoughts after I used it a bit more. And I used it quite a bit this past month. It's surprisingly reliable. I didn't have any hard starts, no flow issues, no leaking issues. It traveled well. So I have no complaints on the general function. Now, I don't know what the quality control is like for this pen brand, which is definitely a white label type of situation. So my experience may not be the same as other people's experience because who knows what the quality control on this nib is like. But I have no complaints. Oddly enough, though, as far as aesthetics, and I guess function in a way, I need a clip on this thing. It's not great with pen loops because it is so skinny. And I thought I almost lost it, I think twice. I was like, oops, I guess I lost the pen. This doesn't have a pen loop on it. Nope. But yeah, I think it definitely needs a clip. And that's really my only thought for improvement. Overall, $15. You really can't complain. Yes, I wish she would have partnered with an actual fountain pen brand, but it's really not that deep. And people are, per usual, being mean. For some reason, she's just like a target for that. So, I mean, it's a $15 fountain pen. It writes, it's reliable, it's smooth. There we go. So on to this month's pen and ink pairings. The first one is this Montegrappa Elmo in black. This pen does have a story, but I will spare you most of it. The too long didn't read is I got this at a super good deal because it was heavily discounted because of a previous repair situation with Kenro. This was not my first choice or my second or my third or maybe even my fourth, but I was very happy to get this and it writes really well. I've had it inked up for about a week now and it's my first Montegrappa, but it's just really classy. And I think, I feel like I say this every month that I have a new pen to go in my planner pen loop. But I think this is going to live in my planner pen loop for now. I have this inked with Ferris Wheel Press Bluegrass Velvet, which is a lovely dark teal color, so it can pass as professional or whatever. But I've been really liking this combo and I wasn't expecting to leave it in the pen for too long, but I've liked it, and so why not? It's gonna live here. I'm trying to not give myself these like hard and fast rules about, oh, it's not the beginning of the month, I can't ink up anything new, or oh, it's the beginning of the month, I have to unink things. So I'm just doing whatever I want, as it should be. It looks so much lighter with this swatch, and I know there is a Montegrappa Elmo 2, pretty sure. But this is the original, or at least the first one. Elmo 1 in black, inked with Ferris Wheel Press Bluegrass Velvet. Oh, I love it. It's so smooth. This is a really comfortable pen. You don't have to post it. It's actually a little weird shaped post it, but my instinct is to post for whatever reason. I do have my stickers. Let's do the nib stickers because I have lots of finds and I'm not printing out another sticker sheet for this. So let's just do the little nib for the pen, and then let's do this for the ink. All right, so the first one is the Montegrappa Elmo 1 in black ink with Ferris wheel press Bluegrass velvet. The next one that I have inked up is this Lamy Safari in field green, which I think is available only in Europe. I got this from a shop in the Netherlands, not in person, but just like online. And I just couldn't say no to it because, as you may or may not know, I have the Taiwanese 30th anniversary edition of the Pilot Vanishing Point. And when I saw this, I was like, ooh, I wonder how they would look side by side. And I can show you what they look like side by side. The greens really don't match, but I mean, they still look good together. And I'm a sucker for a green pen. Let's see. So yeah, this does have the black coated nib, which for whatever reason, I like the black coated nib more than the silver stainless steel nib. I don't know why. It just seems like the black coated nib always performs better for me. But I have this inked up with Waterman Harmonious green, and this is a very lovely, wet, reliable green ink with a really prominent red sheen. This does have a fine nib. I really need to go bigger next year or whenever I run out. I say that every currently inked video, but just so you know, it's going to be a bigger notebook next time. But yeah, this is the Lamy Safari Field Green, which is a lovely matte green Lamy Safari with gold hardware here. And it's inked up with Waterman Harmonious Green. The next pen that I have inked up is the Pilot Decimo in the Kobe gradation. I think this is called Coastal Stone, Coastal Gray Stone, something along those lines. And it is so pretty. I love the gradient from this very cool toned gray into this darker stone gray here. And this is the only Decimo that I have, and I got this from the Nagasawa store in Japan. And the only size nib that they had left when I got to it was broad. And so knowing that the nib units are easily switched out, I just bought it anyways because they're hard to find at the time without the crazy reseller gouging prices, if you will. So I did get it in a broad nib. I ended up selling the nib unit, which was really cool. It had like a little key on it that I didn't realize until I took it out of here. But I ended up selling it, and I purchased a fine nib unit with that money. So it was kind of an even trade, if you will. So now I have a fine nib in here, which is my preferred nib size for capless, vanishing point, Decimo, etc. And this month I have this inked up with a new Ferris wheel press ink that comes out on July 5th. I'll of course leave any information, any codes, because I do have a discount code with Ferris wheel press, but I'll leave all of that information down in the description if you want to check it out. But this ink is called Leadcast Letters, and it's a very nice gray ink. It's very subtle, I think. It reminds me of graphite. And I just thought it was a lovely match for the pen, but also still very legible because I like to be able to actually read what I write. FWP Leadcast. So yeah, the Pilot Decimo in Coastal Stone Gray. It's a Kobe gradation, and it's inked with Ferris Wheel Press Leadcast Letters. Okay, the next pen that I have ready to go is the Esterbrook JR in Fantasia, and I feel like I've had this inked up recently, which is fine, but I just really love the nib on it. It has an imperial nib ground by Kirk Spear, and I just love the way that it writes. He describes it on his website as keeping the feeling of a round nib when you're writing, but your cross strokes are still narrow. So it gives stub, but like a round nib stub, if that makes any sense. I really love it, and I haven't been able to enjoy it the last couple of times that I've had this pen inked up because turned out I had a feed issue with the pen when I got it, and thanks to the lovely Joel at Ink Pen, he figured that out for me and replaced the feed, and I've been enjoying it ever since. So I'm gonna ink it up again because I do what I want. But I have this inked up with TWSBI Sapphire Blue, which is also just known as TWSBI Blue. And I don't have much of it left. I'm down to just enough to get this swatch happening. And I really like this blue. Yes, it's just a blue ink, really. But there's something about the tone of this blue that's really nice and doesn't feel as standardy as it could, I guess. And it just flows really well. And, you know, in a sea of colorful inks, sometimes you just need a blue pen. So this is the You can see I have pretty thick downstrokes here, but my cross strokes are thinner. It's just a really nice, comfortable nib. Do recommend. I don't see them out there enough. Okay, the next pen I have inked up is this one, and this definitely doesn't look like it comes from my collection, but indeed it does. This was my latest purchase in the Atlas Experience pen sale. They just had one yesterday from the day that I'm filming this, and y'all, I didn't get anything. I didn't even have Discord open. That's probably the first time since they started doing this that I restrained myself. But I am really glad that I snagged this one at a discount because it is so cool. This is the Pilot Falcon in red with a soft, fine nib. And you can just see how cool that nib shape is. It kind of reminds me of the cone heads. Yeah, that's fun. But I have this inked up with a Cult Pens exclusive Diamine Deep Dark Orange, which basically looks red. But let's swatch this out. I thought it would be a fun match because I don't love writing with super bright red ink, but this has enough interest that it doesn't really read super red. I don't know. I just didn't want to go writer's blood or ox blood. I just wanted to do something a little bit different. Also could have went with ancient copper or something like that, but I just wanted to try something that I haven't tried yet. I actually got that bottle of Diamine Deep Dark Orange with another pen purchase that I made secondhand, and he wasn't using the ink and was like, do you want a bottle of ink? And I said, sure. So here we are. We have this Diamine Deep Dark Orange. So yeah, it's a fun match complement. So this is the Pilot Falcon in red with a soft fine nib. It is inked with Diamine Deep Dark Orange. All right, this does have a very bouncy, almost flex nib, but you don't want to like press into it. That's where the soft fine comes from, because it is a little softer, so you get a little flex there. So yeah, this is the Pilot Falcon in red with a soft fine nib and is inked with Diamine Deep Dark Orange. The next pen that I have inked up was a birthday gift. I got several birthday pens gifted to me, and I am just so grateful. My family really went all out this year. So this one is a fun little Pilot 823 dupe moment. This is the Asvine V for VAC 126. And it is set up very similar to the Pilot Custom 823. But look at this pretty transparent teal color. I love that you can like see the nib in there. I love the color. It's just really pretty and affordable, which, you know, if you look at the price of this, which is probably $26 or so compared to the Pilot Custom 823, which I think is like $300. Like, it's wild. This is a good place to start if you don't want to spend that type of money on a custom 823. But having had one and sold it, I will say that I'm not missing it. Having this is not making me miss the Pilot. So maybe a hot take there. I don't know. But it is what it is. I have this inked up with an ink that I really love and I haven't used in quite a while. This is Ferris Wheel Press Knitted Nettle. And I don't think I put any shimmer in this, though I definitely could have. But I am going to throw some shimmer down in this swatch so you can see. Yeah, this is just a really gorgeous teal color that I think matches this so well. It does have some pinkish purpley duochrome shimmer happening in here, but again, I did not pull any up in this, I don't think. So here we have the Asvine V126. This is a medium nib, by the way, and pretty comfortable post-it. We do have some shimmer happening. I just can't wait for that to dry up so you guys can see all the fun stuff happening with that. The next pen that I have inked up is another birthday pen. This pen is so pretty. I love it so much. You guys. This is the Pelikan M620, which I didn't even know really that that was a thing. But this was a part of their Cities series, and this was the pen for New York, which is very fitting because I'm going there a couple of times between this month and next month. But my husband got me this for my birthday, and I just really adore it. So I have this inked up with Robert Oster Honeybee, which is a gorgeous golden color and may have been featured in my favorite yellow and gold inks video, which came out last week. I'll link that for you as well. But I really like this ink. It's very legible, especially for the color family that it is a part of. And coming out of this like cool toned black and white pen, I just think it's just divine. I will mention a couple of other things about this pen. It looks white and black for sure, but when you put it up against other white pens, it really doesn't read as white. It reads super cool, toned, almost blue sometimes. So it's a very interesting colorway. And I think it was released in 2003, I found out. I have it in a fine nib, which of course is a little juicy for a fine nib, but I think I will leave it untouched because I really enjoy the way that this writes. So gorgeous. So yeah, this is the Pelikan M620, the New York edition, inked with Robert Oster Honeybee. Okay, now that everything's all dried, I did add some stickers down on the side here, and I also added a little bit to the Bluegrass velvet swatch just because it just wasn't giving the true nature of the ink, I think. So I added a little bit more there. But let's go ahead and look a little closer. So we have the Montegrappa Elmo 1 in black, inked up with Ferris Wheel Press Bluegrass Velvet. The Lamy Safari in that matte-filled green, inked up with Waterman Harmonious green. And so yeah, you can see some of that red sheening here along the edges. Then we have the Pilot Decimo in the Coastal Stone Gray in a fine, inked up with Ferris Wheel Press Leadcast Letters. Then we have the Esterbrook JR in Fantasia with an Imperial nib ground by Kirk Spear, and I have that inked up with TWSBI Sapphire Blue, and I'm actually pretty surprised that we got that much variation in this swatch. It is very nice. I'll show you over here as well. And then we have the Pilot Falcon in red, inked up with Diamine Deep Dark Orange. And there's a lot of variation in the writing here. There is some shading, but we just have darker hues of shading, which I really enjoy. And I'm sure that the soft, fine nib contributes to that as well. The next one is the Asvine V126 in transparent teal with a medium nib, and I have that inked up with Ferris Wheel Press Knitted Nettle, so we can definitely see some of that shimmer in the swatch there. Not so much in the writing, which is fine, but I just really do enjoy this ink. It's really pretty. And finally, I have my Pelikan M620 in the New York colorway with a fine nib, and that's inked up with Robert Oster Honeybee. Just look how lovely this yellowy gold brown ink is. super legible as well. So those are my currently inked pens for this month. Let me know which pair is your favorite pair. Let me know what you have going on this month in your pens and ink combination. I want to know all of that. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you want to see more fountain pen, inks, planning, journaling, stationery, all the good stuff. And like this video if you've enjoyed. If you want to see the team to beat, I will leave last month's currently inked up here in this general area. And I'm just crossing my fingers that this month is as good as those. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.